Good evening, Masa al Khair. Good evening, everybody. Your Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you to the Aramco Trading New Silk Road CEO of the Year Awards 2023. Under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Hamad al-Sharqi, member of the Supreme Council and ruler of Fujairah. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our host, His Highness Sheikh Saleh bin Hamad bin Hamad al-Sharqi, Chairman of the Port of Fujairah, and to our award sponsor, Aramco Trading, and to Mr. Abdullah al-Dosari, who is the MD of Aramco Trading here in Fujairah. The new Silk Road CEO of the Year Awards recognize industry leaders who've made an outstanding record of achievement in the advancement of the international energy industry's interconnectivity across the Asia-Middle East trading corridor. Much of this connectivity and economic integration are built on a foundation of physical energy flows, and the CEO Awards are designed to recognize success in 5 related categories: trading, refining, storage, and ports and shipping, and lifetime achievement. An international selection committee submits a list of nominees, which are then shortlisted and voted on by their peers in the industry. And we're delighted tonight to be joined by so many previous winners and committee members as well. And I hope that you've all seen a copy of our commemorative 5th anniversary commemorative edition, which will give you a nice history of the awards in the last 5 years, previous winners, and their achievement. And of course, tonight, we're delighted to be announcing this year's winners. But ahead of that, I'm delighted to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Nawal Al-Husani, Permanent Representative of the UAE to IRENA, who I would like now to welcome up to the stage to join me for a fireside chat to talk about COP28, hopes and expectations.
Assalamu alaikum, masakum Allah bil khair. I have to say, I accepted because you said hopes and expectations. Because if COP is about one thing, it's about hope. And it's about being positive, about doing things differently, but doing things better for the future. So thank you for this amazing title.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And of course, what an honor it is for the UAE also to be hosting COP28, and congratulations. And perhaps it puts a bit of pressure on the country as well as the host, and also to demonstrate what it itself is doing. And of course, it's the first time that this meeting is held in a country which is also an energy producer. And so that shines an extra spotlight on the industry to showcase what it's doing already in the fight towards climate change and what plans it has.
Small correction. It's actually a myth that it's the first time this COP is hosted in an oil-producing country. It's actually the 19th time. But because it's the UAE, and we know how the media likes to shed the light in a different way when it comes to the UAE, it is being highlighted and basically flagged as something is very, very dangerous. But it's not the case. Egypt is an oil-producing country. Glasgow is one of the main oil-producing, energy-producing, but you know, it is what it is. I think the difference this year with COP is that we are actually very honest about it, that we have been having COPs now. This is the 28th, which means 28 years we have been challenged with the same issues. But it's about time we do things differently. So all those years, politicians has been leading the conversation. I think for the first time we have a CEO leading this conversation. So having this business mindset to look at the challenge, we are expecting to have solutions in a bit different way. So we are not the first, but we're going to be definitely very different and very unique in our approach.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'm sure that the world will be waiting to see what that is. And of course, I mean, if we just look at, you know, we only have 15 minutes with you up here on stage this evening, but one of the major challenges of the COP meetings previously and there have been many, but one has always that has been highlighted has been about finance. And of course, the UAE, can already demonstrate that it has financed and invested in energy transition solutions, in renewables in particular, both at home and abroad. So is it sort of placed especially well to showcase what it's done, and how do you think it can show leadership in that particular finance leading sphere to get that ball rolling, which has been one of the sticking points of COP meetings previously?
Absolutely, and I think it has been very clear because I'm sure you've seen when our co-presidency announced their pillars, and one of the core pillars is fixing finance. And when we say fixing finance, we're not just talking about how to facilitate more finance, but actually all those old commitments that has been made now for years and decades that has not been fulfilled. And this is why Dr. Sultan has been extremely vocal about, we want the developed countries to actually honor their commitments, which they announced years and years ago, and enable that finance. So fixing finance has been a priority for this co-presidency, but showing what finance does and creating real solutions has been extremely, to your point, demonstrated by the UAE, in the UAE and abroad. I started my career in this sector in Masdar. And when we started Masdar, everybody looked at us, and every time we go and talk about Masdar, the question is why the UAE is doing that. It was never how and what are you doing. The question is why are you doing it? And this questioning basically shows, the kind of the hypocrisy in addressing the way we do things. And the UAE has been doing that because, to your point, we are an oil and gas leader country, but we want to maintain our leadership in the energy sector. And we knew very, very, very early on that renewables is going to be definitely part of the energy mix. And, we had a choice either to, stand on the side and watch, or become part of the main players. And today, Masdar is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, renewable energy company in the world here from the UAE, and we are investing in the UAE and abroad. So that investment did not only create solutions and opportunities, but also led to the acceleration of adoption of renewables around the world. It is because of the UAE, and I say that, and I have evidence. I'm not just saying it because I am an Emirati, but it's because of the UAE's leadership. Now we have renewable energy such as solar, cheaper than traditional energy sources. The UAE today have 3 of the largest, cheapest solar power plants in the world. So that leadership, accelerating the solutions. When we started, we were literally investing not in cutting-edge technology, in bleeding-edge technology. This is when we started. Now, we just announced investment in wind here in the UAE. And when we started a few years ago, wind was not a viable solution for the UAE, but technology is advancing. And technology will only advance if you made the right investment in research and development, the right investment in large-scale solutions and large-scale projects, and the right development in creating the financing mechanism that makes those solutions viable.
You mentioned scaling up as well, and that requires a lot of investment in renewables and elsewhere. And of course, one big focus or let's say criticism of countries generally is that, as you said, the developing world has to play its part, become, for example, anchor investors in the developed world and emerging countries that cannot afford to apply or deploy these technologies that the UAE, for example, has been so successful at. And I'm wondering whether, how much of a problem is it for countries that they sit around the table now at the end of November at COP28, this issue of not one size fits all, that we all, yes, have to sit at the same table, but let's start to be practical in who can do what, at what pace. Do you see that progressing at this meeting in any way?
Absolutely, and we always, it hasn't been new to us. We have been always saying it has to be a just transition. And a just transition means it has to be just for all. So what works for the UAE definitely does not work for other countries. And what works for a country like Iceland, for example, where they have geothermal and they have all those type of renewables, does not work to countries that has no access to, or environmental conditions does not enable them to pioneer renewables, and countries that need to develop. So, you have to find a way that you create a roadmap and a pathway for different countries in different ways, and this is what the UAE is about. And we have been, it's something that we have been very vocal about it, and our co-presidency has been very vocal about it, and we are saying it. We are gonna get there, but we all need to be very clear on where we start. So the starting point for us is very different from the starting point for other countries, and we need to be realistic about that, and we need to understand those differences is what we need to focus on, and how we all have to play our role and become responsible. And I just came back from MENA region, MENA Climate Week in Riyadh. And for the first time, you had the GCC ministers sitting around speaking about those solutions. And, and looking at this not as a challenge, which is very unique and very different, looking at this as an opportunity to create different jobs and new jobs, an opportunity to grow economy. And Dr. Sultan has been very vocal. We are going to cut emissions. We are not cutting growth.
Okay, and I mean, you mentioned, let's talk a bit about the energy sector per se and its part in decarbonizing. In America, for example, in the US, we've seen a bill, the IRA, which has incentivized a lot of energy companies there to take advantage of tax breaks, etc., to invest in clean tech, etc. Do you think that there's enough sort of cooperation, coordination within the sector in terms of innovation, technology, to sort of accelerate that path of cleaning even conventional fuels? Do you see any sticking points there, or is the sector working together?
You reminded me, we just, last week or a few weeks ago, we had ADIPAC. And ADIPAC, as I'm sure most of you are very well aware, is the largest oil and gas platform, I think one of the, in the region. I'm not sure about globally, but it's one of the largest platforms globally. And you had all the CEOs of those companies. And I heard that from one of the CEOs, which happens to be a female. So Vicky was saying, it's very interesting that we usually compete with each other. So it has been always about competition, except when we started talking about decarbonization, it became a collaboration. And what Dr. Sultan succeeded is having all those oil and gas companies sitting together and committing together to solutions. This is, again, it is something very, very different and very admirable and very bold. And you saw them, I'm sure, I don't know how many of you attended the ADIPAC opening ceremony, but you saw all those CEOs actually committing personally in video, speaking to audience and telling them what they are going to go and how they are going to have their roadmap towards decarbonization. So yes, it's a sector that is competing with each other, but it's a sector that understands very well that that's a journey. They definitely need to collaborate together, because we need to work together and for a future, for a sustainable future for all of us together, because again, we need to live in this world together.
And do you feel that on the policy front, again, not just the UAE, but in the region and beyond, that's sort of moving, let's say, in tandem with what the industry and the private sector wants to do? Is the private sector getting the clarity that it needs to make these big investments? Do you see any discussion at COP that needs to take place on that front? Policy supporting private business?
Absolutely, I think, but again, it's what the consumer wants as well, right? So the policy frameworks has to be in place. Like, many countries said we need investment in renewables, but for any responsible company to go and invest in a certain region, they need to have the right legislative framework to support that and have the enabling environment to do that. And the same with the private sector. Private sector won't be able to grow or succeed or get into without the support of the government. So, and that's why it has to be, those solutions has to be different sectors working together, and it has to be government, private, but also international banks and international financial institutions. And we need to engage the civil society, and you see how basically bigger role now civil society is playing in that role.
Public awareness is very important, and education, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you see most companies in every sector investing heavily in spreading awareness and educating and promoting all the work that they are doing, because again, you now have a very well-informed customer, you have a very well-informed youth, and you need to attract the right talent, and the right talent now is very selective on the sectors that they're going to engage with.
Your Excellency, I'm afraid we could have stayed and chatted much longer, but thank you so much for your comments and for your insight. Please join me in thanking Her Excellency. Well, it's time now to start the awards ceremony, and I'm delighted to commence that, to invite Mr. Philippe Khoury, Executive Vice President, Sales and Trading at the Aramco Group, who is going to introduce the first award category and first winner of the evening.
Thank you and good evening, Your Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This evening, I have the distinct honor to introduce the winner of the award for CEO of Trading. On behalf of ADNOC, the Executive Director Khalid Salmin, who was the previous winner in 2022 of this prestigious award. It is my pleasure to introduce the winner of the 2023 Aramco Trading New Silk CEO of the Year in the category of Trading, Mr. Talal Al-Aufi, Group Chief Executive of OQ. Talal became the founding CEO of Oman Trading International in his mid-30s and built the first national oil trading company in the Middle East. Almost 20 years later, you don't look that old, Talal. Talal has overseen an incredible period of growth, enjoying record profitability as a wholly owned subsidiary of OQ. Under Talal's leadership of OQ, the company is generating a multi-billion expansion program and is also preparing the IPO to some of its assets. OQ Trading currently trades about 35 million tons of oil products and derivatives on an annual basis and has about 11 sales and trading offices globally. OQ is a key player in the energy transition. For example, OQ are planning to build one of the world's largest green hydrogen plant, Nawal, just to follow up on the COP28, which would ultimately be powered by clean energy sources, including wind and solar. All that remains for me to say is that Mr. Talal Al-Aufi is a very deserving recipient of this year's award in the trading category. Congratulations, Talal. Thank you for him. It is now my pleasure to invite to the stage His Highness Sheikh Saleh bin Mohammed bin Ahmed Al-Sharki to present this award. And please give a warm round of applause to Mr. Talal, who will welcome to the stage for this award.
Thank you very much. How much time do I have, by the way? Can I take my time? Your Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, of course, I'm honored to receive this award. Actually, when I got the call a few weeks back, of course, I was pleased. The call was from Sean. And then a few days later, I called him again. I just wanted to make sure that he's giving the right person. So I asked him, by the way, Sean, I haven't traded for the last few years. Are you sure I fit that category? Or do you want to reconsider? So anyway, he seemed confident that this is the right move. So thank you very much for that. Of course, it's been a long journey, an exciting one, a lot of challenges, ups and downs, a lot of volatility, which we don't mind, I guess, as traders. And I still remember the first day we had conversation or discussions with our previous shareholders or joint venture partners, Vitol. As you probably, some of you know, when we started this venture, it was a 51-49 JV. And my discussion was mainly with Chris Bake, which I'm sure you all, probably most of you know him very well. And I remember bombarding him with a lot of questions. I think the guy got tired at the end of the day and said, listen, Talal, don't ask me a lot of questions. You know, we'll figure it out one day, don't worry. And indeed, we did figure it out at the end. So I'm pleased we've reached where we are. Of course, I dedicate this award to the team, the OQ trading team. And of course, we have the new CEO, Wael Al-Jamali, who has been instrumental in expanding this business significantly, both in reach and complexity, which is really highly appreciated. And it was a joint effort from the team, a joint effort also from a lot of support we received from the government. And we have also a representative here who's hiding on the corner. And he's basically the previous Director General of Marketing. He has also been extremely supportive, and this award is for all of us. I think it's been a joint effort. So thank you once again. I will not bore you with more, but thank you once again, and I'm very honored, Your Highness and Excellencies. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again. The second award of the evening is for the category of refining, and I'm delighted to invite Mr. Majid Shanouda, Deputy CEO and Global Head of Trading at Mercuria Energy Group, to introduce and announce the next winner. Thank you very much.
Your Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce the winner of the 2023 Aramco Trading New Silk Road CEO of the Year in the category of refining. This year, the award goes to His Excellency Saif Hamad Al-Falsi, Group Chief Executive Officer of ENOC. As Chief Executive Officer of ENOC Group, His Excellency Saif Hamad Al-Falsi spearheads the implementation of the group's business growth strategy and operational excellence, both locally and internationally, in alignment with the vision and the plans of the government of Dubai. With more than 43 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, His Excellency's successful track record has enabled him to achieve a significant development in both the upstream and downstream sectors. In addition, he has been instrumental in the evolution of ENOC to become a reputable and leading integrated energy player. His leadership skills and in-depth industry knowledge cover various specialities, including intellectual asset development, project management, and petroleum asset evaluation and operations. His Excellency plays a key role in driving ENOC's sustainable operations by nurturing an organizational culture that adopts clean energy in power generation and efficiency, utilizing assets across the group's operational units. He is clearly a man who is used to winning awards. In 2019, he received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the inaugural Middle East Energy Awards for his immense contribution to the energy sector. He also received an honorary degree of Doctor of Engineering from the Harriet-Watt University in Dubai as a recognition of his 4 decades of significant contribution to the energy industry in the region. 2014, he was awarded the fellowship from the UK Energy Institute, recognizing his leadership of the Enoch Energy and Resource Management Program. In addition to his role as Chief Executive Officer of Enoch Group, His Excellency is also the Chairman of Gulf Energy Maritime and of several terminals and joint venture companies. He's a board member of the Supreme Council of Energy and Green Energy Council, a member of the Center of Excellence for Applied Research and Training, a member of the Fuel Price Committee in Abu Dhabi, and a member of the Dubai Future Council of Energy. Before joining Enoch in 2008, His Excellency worked at ADNOC Group of Companies for 25 years, where he successfully executed multiple full-field development plans for the largest oil fields in Abu Dhabi. And all that remains for me to say is that His Excellency Saif Hamad Al-Farsi is a very deserving recipient of this year's award in the category of refining. Congratulations, sir. It is now my pleasure to invite His Highness Sheikh Saleh bin Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Shagri and His Excellency Saif Hamad Al-Farsi to accept his award.
Your Highness, Sheikh Saleh bin Mohammed Al-Sharji, Chairman of the Board of Fujairah, Your Excellencies, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Firstly, let me thank His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Mohammed Al-Sharji, Supreme Council member and ruler of Fujairah, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Sharji, the Crown Prince of Fujairah, and also Sheikh Saleh bin Mohammed Al-Sharji for their continued support to this marketing energy or energy marketing forum. Secondly, I'm very happy tonight to be here with you, and also I have the honor to receive this prestigious Aramco Trading's New Skill Road CEO for the Year award. This award is not the acknowledgement of my hard work or effort. It is the achievement of my incredible team and organization that I have the privilege to lead. Also, this award reminds all of us that success is not related to individual effort, but also in the collaborative effort. I also like to take this opportunity to thank my dedicated employees, my loyal supplier and partners, and especially our supported family member, between brackets, my wife. Because she gave me all the support for during this 43 years. I am very grateful for each one of you, and also I have the honor for this tremendous honor award. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations to His Excellency and also to Mr. Talal Al-Aufi for the first two awards. We're now going to take a very short break, 30 minutes or so, while the main course is served. And after that, we will resume the award ceremony, the three other categories. Bon appétit. Thank you very much.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt, that's very loud. Maybe I'll hold the microphone far away. The sound system seems to be... Maybe turn it down a little bit. Sorry to interrupt, please keep on eating. But we wanted to take the opportunity, while we have two very bright minds in the room, to share some of their outlook for the year ahead. Many of you may or may not know that the Energy Markets Forum, which of course we are here today and tomorrow, which is in its 11th edition and with COVID would be its 13th year, has given birth to a lot of different things and different incarnations that go on through the course of the year. One of them, of course, is tonight's event, which is the awards, and the awards process is a sort of a 6-month engagement. And if you look at the brochure in front of you, you'll see the selection committee and the process. But also what goes on all year is that we publish weekly a Fujairah newsletter, a weekly Fujairah newsletter. It's called the New Silk Road newsletter, which is again part of the same family of outcomes from what was the original Energy Markets Forum. But the other great outcome that has been surfaced from this is the Daily Energy Markets podcast. So not only are we doing something annually, but we're also doing something daily that sort of was an outcome from the COVID period when we were all locked inside and we had to reincarnate the way we would do things. But the wonderful thing about the Daily Energy Markets podcast is that it comes and it has given a life by 50, 60 commentators that join us every month. And I want to acknowledge that many of them are here this evening, are here with us in Fujairah, and are really tremendous, and they know who they are. They're around the room, and I see them all getting to know each other from the virtual world to the physical world. But thank you so much for being here and for continuing to engage with the podcast every month. It's nothing without the voices and the insights and your intellect that you bring to that discussion every day. So acknowledgement to them. Obviously there's too many of them to name, but as representatives of that football team, we invite Mike Muller, who is one of our podcast contributors the first Sunday of every month. This is a special first Sunday of every month podcast. Mike Muller, the head of Vitol in Asia, and of course Christoph Ruhl, who is a senior fellow at the Columbia School of Energy. If you both come, please, and join me on stage, and they will share with us some of their insights for 2024. A special brief edition of the Sunday podcast, which happens the first Sunday of every month. So welcome, guys, and thank you very much. Please. Yalla. It was a very simple question when we decided we would do a quick outlook. Obviously, we're talking about the oil markets here and what the outlook for 2024 might be after a 2023, which seemed quite stable for a while and has since recently got a bit wobbly. But we'll leapfrog the wobble and go to the year ahead and sort of crystal ball it a little bit. Mike, give you the starting point. Your outlook for how 2024 might unfold.
Thank you, Sean. Super to be here in Fujairah. Again, a very special place for Vitol, and thanks for having me. Right now, we have an oil market that has been influenced in so many ways by political events. Obviously, the most recent events, highly unfortunate as they are. Brent is now sitting $87.80. The one that really moved was natural gas, actually, for various reasons, not related to the issues in the Levant. But the outlook for next year is ultimately shaped by the extent to which OPEC Plus, with Saudi Arabia very much controlling the supply joystick, if you like, managing to contend with the hugely uncertain economic outlook for demand in the world, and especially, of course, arenas like China. And they've had the prescience, I'm not sure how they did it, but His Highness Prince ABS has called the market right with hindsight in terms of being cautious about economic growth in places like China and also the European arena.
And whilst it would appear like global recession has been staved off and we're looking at various soft landing outcomes, supply and demand has been managed in a sense that the marginal barrel of supply has allowed the oil price to move towards $90 a barrel. But the outlook going into next year would seem pretty balanced as we go from stock draw to a more level outlook. So many variables there, but most of them are on the demand side, which is less predictable.
Well, let's go to the demand side with Christoph. Your thoughts, Christoph, 2024, the year ahead, the backdrop being that the World Bank, IMF, etc., keep every time they put out a statement each month or every 2 months, it's a revision downward for global growth. Particularly notable is continued downward revisions on China's growth, which is starting to look very OECD-ish.
OECD-ish. I could say 79, but I don't know when. No, I think there's some things we know. The first thing we know is the starting point, which is that the world has obviously enough oil, as Mike has already pointed out. It takes sizable production cuts to keep the price where it is currently. So excluding also prices, you would expect the price to come under pressure. The second thing we know is something not so pleasant is when you look at the risk side. I had a meeting with a famous historian, history professor, before Saturday last week. And he said to me, Christoph, don't talk about Russia, Ukraine all the time. It's really much more. And he said, wars, the example he used, he said, wars are like London buses. They either don't come at all, or they come all as a whole flock of them, or a group of them. And that seems to be true. So the world moves, Russia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Armenia, now what happened in Israel and so. So there's this increasing risk to the upside this time. Not a pandemic risk that everything collapses, but a risk to the upside. And stepping back from that, I would still think so the world is well supplied. In my book, the global economy is doing well. We might get a soft landing in the US. We will have growth in China. It's not going to be 10%, it's going to be 5%. But the Chinese have a lot of different problems, but still have enough ammunition to spray the water here, there, to extinguish these little fires. And they still have a big gun if they wanted to, and have a big monetary stimulus if they really need to. So the economic side looks fine. There is this upside risk, and there's of course also a downside risk to supply. And as Mike has said in my book, that is in OPEC+. And don't shoot the messenger, but when I look at the numbers, I see one country which as a percentage of its production has more cuts than anybody else because its production capacity has been expanding very rapidly, and that's the UAE. That's certainly something which we'll observe with interest how that's going to be.
That could be a big issue in 24.
Renegotiated. Exactly.
Mike, I don't think we've entered a year, or will enter a new year that I can remember, it might be back to the 90s, but that the IEA and OPEC have diverged so dramatically on their outlook for oil demand, oil supply, particularly demand. In the last few weeks alone, we have the IEA calling peak oil demand being literally around the corner before 2030. And today we heard from the OPEC Secretary General that not only would oil not peak, but it's actually going to be 6 million barrels a day more demand than they only forecast 12 months ago. They see a 2045 market of 116 million barrels. So my question ultimately is, going into a new year with two of the most sort of significant multilateral agencies in the energy industry diverging so dramatically in their outlook for the future, what challenge does that present? Is it irrelevant? Is it relevant? Does it mean anything to you as a trader? What are your thoughts on that?
It's very hard to say, Sean, because these numbers are all projections for 2040, 2045.
Well,
and
the IEA one is not. It's
so let's focus on the prompt, because I think we have a slightly better grasp on what may happen next year and the year after. And it's all about the pace of electrification and the impediments placed in the path of transportation fuels, road fuels, diesel and gasoline. And that's where the majority of the debates hinges. So thank you, Sean, for putting me next to to the Secretary General Haytham earlier today. So I actually asked a question of him, because the one thing he said that was a bit of a takeaway was it's not about, the energy transition is not about switching fuel, it's about reducing emissions from all fuel sources because the world needs them all. And that sort of resonates. I then asked him how he gets to 116 million barrels a day by 2045 with no peak in demand. It just keeps going up. And it's really the major source of difference is gasoline and diesel. And his belief is that emerging markets, led by India, will have much more resilient demand for conventional combustion engine type growth and industrial demand for diesel, which is obviously at odds with the IEA. And most consultants and many companies, participants in this market, are somewhere in the middle between those numbers, which is not hard, where they're sort of peaking in the early 2030s.
But
it's all
not
about
to go over the horizon, but the divergence in these two agencies is immediate. We have OPEC Plus calling OPEC a 3 million barrel a day supply deficit in the fourth quarter. This quarter we are in, and IEA calling 1.5. That's quite a massive difference. Christoph, you want to jump in on that? Does that, again, that divergence, I'm wondering, should we be paying attention to it? Does it mean anything? I think it's...
We should pay attention to it, I think. And what it means is, personally, I think the IEA overdoes it because when they predict peak for all fossil fuels, it's overdoing it by 2030. First point. Second point, we know that oil demand and oil consumption actually shows a very, very, very stable trend in terms of the efficiency improvement with which you drive your cars and you heat your homes and you use oil for petrochemical productions, 2% per year. If we take that very straight line, which has been around with us for the last 30, 40 years, and allow it to continue another 10 years, then you get peak oil demand before 2030 with the OPEC numbers on economic growth and population growth. So I would not exclude that. But having said all of that, there's also a reason to like this kind of, maybe from the hip forecast, as I would call it, which the IEA and others have become incredibly, I have to say by truth of advertising, we did this, I was at BP before, we did these forecasts, probably the first ones who did it on a regular basis. We always made sure we did point forecasts. So we said, okay, this is point forecast. So we made an actual forecast. We always said, okay, we know it's going to be wrong, but nothing focuses the mind as much of an analyst if you ask him make a point forecast or something. And then all these other things emerged, and especially the IEA is terrible. They don't do forecasts. They only do scenarios. And you can plaster the horizon with scenarios, because all it means is to say, if this happens, then this will be the outcome. If that happens, then this will become the outcome. It becomes, in the case of the IEA, almost meaningless. And from that perspective, I found it quite refreshing for OPEC to come here and to say, okay, we just increased it a little bit.
It's going to be 116. Last word to you, Mike, into 2024. The backdrop of, obviously, the macroeconomic outlook from the point of view of demand weakness, US, will this recession ever arrive? It's certainly, in Europe at least, China slowdown. Can OPEC continue to curtail supply to $90 a barrel? Can they cut, the cuts continue even with the macro demand weakness outlook that's there? Do you think that's a theme for 24? How do you see that playing out?
I think the next 12 months are challenging in that there's plenty of fresh oil supply coming from upstream non-OPEC. And we're talking Brazil, Guyana, deep offshore, Gulf of Mexico, etc. And of course, still growth in the shale segment. But there's a growing consensus that the shale segment in the Permian Basin hasn't got quite as much running room as people perhaps felt last year.
Closer, Mike. Hold the microphone a little closer.
Oh, sorry. As a consequence, I think OPEC Plus have to contend with a market that is balanced by non-OPEC next year, depending on your demand forecast, which most people have at in excess of 1.5 million barrels a day, year on year. So the IEA are already in the wrong place next year, because the consensus amongst experts and consulting shops is that next year we'll see record demand as a result of record year-on-year demand growth, despite the slowdown in economies in places like China and India, with growth in the Western Hemisphere also. So if they can hold production roughly in tune with the demand levels as they go, which is the OPEC Plus customary way now, I see no reason why the market, in its current economic state, cannot sustain a decent non-recessionary economy at current oil price.
Well, we will have to leave it there. Relatively current oil price, agree, Christoph? Relatively current oil price, 24?
I think it will be below the 23 average.
Lower than the 23 average?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, lower than what, about $85? We're going to have to wrap it up there and acknowledge the last three award winners. Mike Muller and Christoph Ruhl, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I hope you're all enjoying your dinner. The service is still coming in and out, but we will continue with the awards ceremony. So the next category is in the category of storage, and I'm delighted to welcome Dave Ernsberger, who is the head of market reporting and trading solutions at S&P Global Commodity Insights, to present and introduce the next winner. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the kind introduction. Your Highness, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, good evening. It's lovely to see you all, and thanks to Gulf Intelligence for hosting us for another great evening of awards and celebration. The spirit of these awards is, if I look at my portfolio here, is to celebrate excellence and impact of current leaders, and then its mission is to motivate and inspire the next generation of industry leaders. And in that spirit, it's my great pleasure to introduce the winner of the 2023 Aramco Trading New Silk Road CEO of the Year in the category of storage, Mr. Tyler Barron, who's Chief Executive Officer of Minerva Bunkering. Before you come up, I'm just going to flatter you for a while and say embarrassing things and celebrate your successes, then invite you up to come and collect your award. But many of you will know Mr. Barron. He's a regular at these events and has many important things to say about the industry. As the CEO of Minerva Bunkering, he is heading up the leading physical supplier in the marine fuels industry, which is, of course, a market full of opportunity to progress, to drive change in the world, to play a leading role in energy transition. And Tyler uses his vantage point there to help inform that discussion very effectively. Minerva Bunkering is a subsidiary of Mercuria Energy Group, and it serves customers at 150 ports all around the world. I think just this year it expanded into Egypt, if I'm not wrong, taking on another 12, 13, 14 ports along the way. And it has a massive portfolio dedicated to bunkering logistics and assets, supplying vessels and terminals around the world. Tyler himself, before joining Minerva, led a financial and operational restructuring of the bunker supplier Aegean Petroleum, Aegean Marine Petroleum Network, building up a lot of experience along the way in equity and debt capital markets as well. One of the reasons why I'm pleased to be introducing Tyler tonight is that his company and ours at S&P Global share a lot of values in the marketplace. In particular, the digitalization and the improvement of the supply chains in the industry. As I understand it, Minerva is the only bunker supplier serving Fujairah and Jebel Ali with the option of using mass flow meters, sort of taking a voluntary leading role on that important topic here in the industry. And has also launched in 2021 something called the Advanced Delivery Platform, or ADP, which is all about digitalizing the way bunker fuel is bought and sold, transacted, and tracked in the market space. And we have many similar initiatives at S&P Global. So it's a real pleasure to introduce somebody who's also working hard on the digital side, the technology side of a space that has so many opportunities to move forward and progress and become more efficient in the world. So really all that remains is for me is to say that Mr. Tyler Barron is a very deserving recipient of this year's award in the category of storage. Congratulations. Now you come up. And it's now my pleasure to invite His Highness Sheikh Salah bin Mohammed bin Hamad Al Sharqi and Tyler Barron to accept his award.
Your Highness, Excellencies, and guests, it's an honor to receive this prestigious award. I'd like to thank the esteemed selection committee and tonight's sponsor, Aramco Trading. Our oil terminal here in Fujairah has really been a turnaround story, and turnarounds, in my opinion, are very fulfilling to see through to their fruition. When we acquired the terminal 5 years ago, it had technical and operational constraints that really limited the performance when it came to the capabilities of the terminal serving both our bunkering and trading businesses. But through the tremendous work of our local team and a significant amount of capital investment along the way, we're very pleased that the terminal is now has become one of the top performing terminals in the market. We were very comfortable making investments in this market and in the terminal due to the backdrop of significant and, more importantly, very well-structured growth that's been shepherded by His Highness, the Port of Fujairah, and the Fujairah oil industry zone. So for this, you have our congratulations and thanks as one of your industry partners. Thank you.
Congratulations. The next category of award is for ports and shipping, and it falls to me. I'm delighted to announce who the winner is tonight. Unfortunately, he could not be with us, but the winner for ports and shipping is Captain Abdul Karim Al-Masabi, Chairman of AW Shipping and CEO of ADNOC Logistics and Services. And Captain Al-Masabi's colleague, Captain Muhammad Al-Ali, is here to receive the award on his behalf. So I'd like to invite him up to receive the award from His Highness.
I have to do this every time, you know. So, Your Highness, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's honestly a pleasure to be here amongst you tonight. And Abdul Karim, since his deepest regret, he could not be among you tonight to receive this prestigious award, but we would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity. Being with Abdul Karim for over 27 years since we started our career in '96, I think, you know, I can say a few words on his behalf. Abdul Karim has been, you know, a tremendous leader and honestly a tremendous colleague to work with. He helped the Abu Dhabi ports initially to build Khalifa Port and to actually to bring it to whatever it is today. He also helped ADNOC LNS to complete its integration and create this company to actually be publicly listed finally and to a breaking record of 163 times oversubscribed. It's been an honor and a pride to actually receive this award on his behalf. I would like also to say that this tribute goes to all the 7,000 employees of ADNOC LNS and especially the 3,000 seafarers of ADNOC LNS. I would like also to share with you that when we started our career 27 years ago, many people thought we could not make it through, and they were betting the time we were actually going to quit and leave, because we were one of the first UAE seafarers in this country. We are proud that we managed to build this foundation and to actually see many of UAE seafarers and the leadership roles sitting here today, and our colleagues, actually, we are very much proud of everything that we have achieved. Throughout the years, ADNOC LNS have managed to graduate over 500 UAE national seafarers. And I would like to tell all the UAE national seafarers, please tap on your shoulders. You have made it and you have created a legacy. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Well, our final award of the evening is the New Silk Road Energy Markets Honorary Lifetime Achievement Award for 2023. And I'm delighted to invite Mike Muller from Vitol Asia again up to the stage to introduce the winner of our final category tonight. Mike, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I'm sorry you have me again, but I have to explain why Fujairah is so special to Vitol. We have a refinery here, which we've had for multiple decades. We have a storage venture, VTTI, which boasts ADNOC as a shareholder now also. And we have a long-standing business of activities around this part of the world, not least a very vibrant bunkering activity. So Fujairah always held a special place in our hearts, and as Talal, you very kindly mentioned Chris Bake before, who couldn't come this time around, but he sends his regards to you all. He was like not only a founding father of the business I just outlined, but also a founder member of this very conference. And Sean and Chris have a love affair that goes back more than a decade. So I'm just the spokesperson here trying to continue on with Chris's tradition. So ladies and gentlemen, we're here to honor a special guest with a Lifetime Achievement Award, a pioneer in his industry and very much an unsung hero. And it's my job to remind you of a few things that he's too modest to tell you about himself, because he really did set in motion a whole bunch of things we now take for granted, and you may be surprised to hear some of them. How do I say a few words to a Franco-Swiss Lebanese chap born in Cairo, whom many consider a close friend, me included? It's really nice also to be able to celebrate a Lifetime Achievement Award while somebody's still at the top of their game, not about to leave or retire. Of course, we have extra pressure on me tonight because Philippe's dear wife, Valérie, is in the audience right behind him, filming me as I speak. So I've got to get this right. So the gentleman we're nominating and awarding tonight is Philippe Khoury of ADNOC. Bravo, Philippe. How do we celebrate someone like Philippe Khoury? He has worked in 8 different cities. If I get these right now: Geneva, Paris, Hong Kong, Moscow, London, Houston, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and I may have missed 1 or 2. His humble beginnings go back to when he joined Texaco in Switzerland as a graduate in Geneva. Very quickly found his way into ELF, but before that he was in a company called Gatol that many of you may not remember, but this was the refinery that is now closed at Colombey in Switzerland, which they operated. So Philippe's roots are in wholesale, supply, refining, marketing, all that downstream stuff. The Philippe, most of you know, of course, was hired to take ADNOC on a special journey, but more of that soon. After his time in Switzerland, Philippe found his way into ELF, and that's where most people remember him as a prodigious trader. He was running the most successful, most profitable trading book in Geneva for ELF at the time, and then he got asked to take up an assignment in Moscow. Apparently the alternative was Singapore, but he decided Moscow was going to take his career on a more vertical track, not least because his boss had been asked to take the job and declined. And his very, very up for it wife, Valerie, said, yes, let's do it. They had 2 children already, and the other one came while they were in Moscow, and Valerie came back to Switzerland to give birth to number 3, whilst Philippe soldiered on in Russia. And these were formative years, the mid-90s, 1993 to 1997. There were companies out there that we don't talk of anymore, like Sibneft and Lugansk Frackmaster and Yukos. Philippe was an absolute pioneer back then because he came up with novel financing options that are the stuff of legend, including trading sugar for oil with the Russians and all the financing structures that go with it. As a reward for his assignment in Moscow, he came back and got given the plum job in ELF in Paris, looking after the whole of Africa, which was the prize asset, and very much the whole Atlantic basin. And very soon after that, he found his way, after Total had done their merger thing with ELF, put in charge of what is now known as Atlantic Trading, which is basically Total in North America. And we're talking about a Houston office that has a remit spanning offices in Latin America, in the Caribbean, in North America, and handling all of the Atlantic basin flows. Philippe actually invented that entity. He created Atlantic Trading as we now know it. And if you haven't been to NPRA or the API conference in America, they host the biggest party of the conference. So there's a legacy for you, Philippe, as well. Now, conventional wisdom says that traders make lousy bankers, and bankers can never become traders. But Philippe is basically a testament to the fact that he's the exception to this. Because after all this, HSBC came calling, and the headhunters dragged him into Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, a francophone Lebanese guy into a very British organization. And they made him vice chairman of oil and gas in Hong Kong. And this was head office, of course, but from Hong Kong, he ran a very successful venture whereby HSBC implanted people into Total Trading in Geneva mostly to jointly come up with financing structures and origination ideas that used the capital of the bank and the trading prowess of Total. An idea I tried to sell to HSBC about 10 years beforehand, but they wouldn't have it with Shell, so it went to Total. Not a surprise, of course. Philippe very quickly got promoted from this opportunity and was sent in 2017 to Vice Chairman of Global Banking for the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey. And not long after this, he became highly visible to some of the large NOCs in the Gulf. In this role in HSBC, he planted the seeds of ideas with certain Gulf NOCs, where he was literally in and out of the doorways in Bahrain with Aramco, in Abu Dhabi, in Oman, and various other places, giving people the idea that trading might not be a bad thing to do, backed by assets of these vast Middle East NOC resources. So, Philippe, you are to blame for things like Aramco trading and ADNOC trading. And of course, it's no surprise that, I'm sorry, Talal, of course, the template was OTI 2 decades beforehand, as we heard from you before, but it's no surprise that Dr. Sultan tapped you up at one point and said, my friend Philippe, it's time to come and do this for real, not from the bank. Come and join us here. And that's the Philippe we know today, of course. ADNOC, the face of ADNOC Commercial, head of ADNOC Trading, ADNOC Global Trading, and of course the large sales team that encompasses everything down to specialties and aviation markets. And this is, in his tenure of this time, Philippe was very much made the architect of transforming, and I think it's not overstating things to say he was the instrument of none other than the visionary Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber and his main man for commercial matters in ADNOC, Khalid Al-Salmin, to implement these visions that took ADNOC from being the vehicle whereby the Supreme Petroleum Council would grant the license to hold tenders and basically market and sale stuff in true old-fashioned style with OSPs that were retroactive, to having the vision to actually saying, hang on, we don't have to sell everything in tenders, we can be proactive, we can build trading teams. A lot of critics will say he then implanted a francophone culture into ADNOC, testament the table behind him that is largely French speakers, but they're all bloody good. So I don't want to take anything away from that. And then, of course, the idea of taking foreign partners into Ruwais was something very much driven by Philippe also. Moving the clock forwards, the IFAD conference, the IFAD idea of building the exchange and releasing Murban crude to be freely tradable and to be fully accessible on the exchange was very much a Philippe thing also, and implemented successfully. And I'm pleased to say that many parties in the room, Vitol included, were part of doing that. But as part of this process, ADNOC became the biggest trader in some of these instruments, taking market share from many of you, and especially from Vitol. We look at your naphtha desk these days with a lot of envy, because it's you and Aramco and everyone else is down there somewhere. So many congratulations, Philippe, for doing something which then enabled you to introduce a bonus culture. Unheard of 10 years ago that ADNOC would be paying competitive bonuses to traders and attracting people from across the industry and from outside of the Gulf. So fast forward to where we are today. ADNOC now has a Singapore office. ADNOC is announcing very soon the location of their European office, and America next, I should think. There's not much more we can say other than the future would appear to be fixed already. You've set up a biofuels desk, you've set up a carbon desk, you're into LNG trading, and COP28 will give you plenty of tailwind to lead in that regard also, as we heard in the earlier talk. So, Philippe, it gives me great pleasure now to congratulate you on your appointment and to invite His Excellency, His Highness Sheikh Salih bin Mohammed bin Hamad Al Sharqi to come to stage to present you. Oh, sir, Your Highness, I'm sorry, already here. Please join His Excellency on stage, Philippe, and many congratulations.
There is nothing much to be said after what Mike has said. I think he stole my presentation. But I must admit, he prepared this in the last 10 minutes. Pretty good exercise. Your Highness, Sheikh Saleh al-Sharki, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, friends and families, today I stand before you deeply honored to receive this Lifetime Achievement Award on behalf of Gulf Intelligence. Your acknowledgement is both a testament to my journey and the collective endeavors of all who walk alongside me, and I see many in the room tonight. Mike, your kind words have not gone unnoticed. I'm truly humbled, especially by your personal involvement in what you said. Thank you, Mike. Reflecting on my career, I'm reminded of how opportunities to forge significant change in our industry have consistently presented themselves. Spanning 3.5 decades in trading, my family's support has been unwavering. My wife is here. As we journeyed across 8 continents, as Mike said, 4 continents, and 8 cities. The mobility was essential to navigate the dynamic nature of the commodity trading markets. Starting in downstream and swiftly transitioning to trading with Elf Trading in Geneva, as Mike said, in the early 80s, was my entry into the transformative arena of this business. Throughout my career trajectory, I've had the privilege of assuming diverse leadership roles, from serving as head of feedstock trading to becoming the president of CEO of Atlantic Trading in Houston, and subsequent key roles in HSBC, as Mike mentioned. I've experienced from within the monumental consolidation of energy giants like Total, FINA, ELF, Exxon, Mobil, Shell, and British Gas. My later roles in investment banking, harmoniously blending with my trading background, allowed me to develop specific skills. This blend empowered me to offer fresh perspectives to the various national oil companies, reshaping and prioritizing investments to address the traditional inertia inherent to our industry. My association with ADNOC, a beacon institution, began in 2017 when I had the fortune of meeting His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Sultan Al Jaber. His transformative vision of ADNOC to lead the UAE in a rapidly evolving energy landscape perfectly complemented my suggestions, especially to shift from classical sales to trading. In 2018, when I took charge of ADNOC's sales and trading division, we faced a sea of challenges, but with a robust team and unwavering determination, we ensured no stone remained unturned and no opportunity missed. Collaborative efforts have always been at the heart of our endeavors. With the dedication of colleagues, and partners, many of you are here tonight, some who have graced this event today, we created ADNOC Global Trading and ADNOC Trading. Today, these entities stand tall with global outreach, backed by over 450 individuals, each expert in their domain. One of our crown achievements has been our ability to weave a fabric of global expertise with local talent. We have integrated highly skilled and motivated UAE professionals with our seasoned international traders, nurturing a vibrant thread of talent and culture. This blend, rooted deeply in shared values, has propelled us to deliver stellar performance and establish robust organizational structures. A milestone moment of our journey was in 2021, collaboration with the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, to launch the the Murban Future Contract. Murban is Abu Dhabi's flagship crude oil. This move elevated the Murban to trade alongside global titans with future physical contract delivered right here in the Emirate of Fujairah. Indeed, Port of Fujairah's significance cannot be overstated. Its strategic geographical position and cutting-edge infrastructure have been invaluable. ADNOC's onshore 360 kilometers crude oil pipeline from Habshan in Abu Dhabi oil fields and ADNOC's underground strategic stocks, oil storage, present here in Mandus are testaments of the existing synergy between our organizations. In short, the growth narrative of Fujairah and ADNOC are intrinsically intertwined, promising a future teeming with mutual growth, innovation, and success. This award, while a personal honor, is truly a celebration of the collective. It is a nod to everyone's endeavor, every challenge faced, and every success celebrated together, particularly here in Fujairah. I genuinely believe our strategic alignment, bolstered by the UAE's visionary leadership, sets the stage for unparalleled success in the years to come. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to Gulf Intelligence and the International Selection Committee for this recognition. It serves as a reminder of our shared journey and the milestones yet to come. Thank you very much.
Oh, we did the photo, okay. But I'm going to still ask you to stay on stage. I would like to, Your Highness, you've been very patient with us on stage up here. I'd like to invite the award winners who have gone back to the table to have one final group photo with His Highness and with Mr. Al-Dosri. Thank you. So the other 4 award winners, please, of this evening will have a group photo. Thank you very much. If you'd like to make your way up. And I will ask the photographers to direct, if you can please direct the gentlemen as you would like them to. So. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we're having the final photo taken, just a reminder that tomorrow morning, of course, is day 2 of the forum, starting bright and early at 8 a.m. with the breakfast briefings. Congratulations to our winners. And thank you again to His Highness and to Aramco Trading. And dessert will now be served. And after that, for those of you with the energy, there's a social networking hour being hosted by IFAD just in the lobby at the library. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much. Sorry? Yeah. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our awards evening tonight. I hope you're enjoying your dessert. I'd like to thank His Highness for attending today and for hosting the evening in Aramco Trading. And we wish you all a pleasant evening. There will be a social event being hosted by ICE Futures Abu Dhabi in the lobby of the hotel, in the library room. So we look forward to seeing you all there after dessert. Thank you so much and have a good remainder of the evening. Congratulations again to all the winners. Thank you.